Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. We got Kelly Cook here with us today. Kelly, how are you doing?
What's going on, Elizabeth? I'm doing great. It's still blazing hot down here, but you know what? We're on the downward spiral of summer, so that's good if you live in Arizona, the desert.
Good if you're living here too. I'm in Omaha, and it is, I think yesterday was like 100 degrees. It's in the 90s all week, so I'm ready for fall weather. Won't feel quite the same without some college football going, but I'm ready for the weather at least.
I'm still holding out and hope that maybe, just maybe, somehow the Big Ten reverses.
We got to be entertained somehow, right?
I can't believe it.
That's a discussion for another day, another podcast. But today we're here to talk about real estate, and we've talked a lot about how you get started in real estate. We've talked about what the current market conditions are, different things like that, and we've scratched the surface on building your team. Once you're kind of at that point where you've been doing this a while, you know all the basic stuff. You're doing a great job building your business. How do you build more and kind of really capitalize on that? Start to build out kind of your legacy, right? So that's what we kind of want to dive a little bit deeper in today and probably for the next couple episodes here. So Kelly, you have a team. How did you do it? Where did you start?
This fires me up, this conversation, Elizabeth, because it really I love to coach people up, and not just to sell a house, right? But I mean, I like doing that, but I really enjoy the business aspect of how you run a business. And some of these principles apply no matter what business you're in. And going to MBA school really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of stuff too that you learn. And the great thing about doing that and doing the MBA school was I did that after I was already in the workforce for a few years. So you have a different perspective, I think, than if you just go right out of being undergraduate right into that graduate degree without even any work experience, I think, right? So that really helped me. And then obviously just educating myself and learning from people who are way smarter than me, right? And then failing forward, right? There's this a lot of people say fail forward fast, the 3 F's, right? Which I love, right? Because if you take a year to try something and then fail, okay, now you know.
A lot longer, yeah.
Take a year, yeah.
Yep.
What if you took a week somehow and then it worked or you failed, and then at least now you know, but it took a week, right? Now you just, it's basically process of elimination, right? Of things that check off them. Or there's other quote that says, success leaves clues, right? So what if you just did the old rip off and duplicate deal of somebody who already has done what you're trying to accomplish? Well, I have not arrived. I'm not here to say that, but we've had some success and we've built a team. And so I have a lot of experience from failing, not because I'm just smart, unfortunately. And so love to share that with this podcast, right? About all the different topics, issues we do discuss. And today, we're talking about the first step really of how you build a team. And I will say this, guys, that there could be a couple different ways you do it, but if you want my opinion of the best way to do it, the question I get all the time is, when do I know, right, it's time to make that first hire? And then who is it? And I think a lot of people, they make that first hire, and that first hire they make is a agent to help them work with buyers. And because buyers do take longer in terms of the time per deal, right, as opposed to working with a seller, right? And that's just what it is, a different skill set, different personality type, right, for the most part. But that is completely incorrect, right? And I'll be honest with you, I didn't make that screw up. I made plenty of them. That one I got right, and I hired.
Let me start with the one that I got right here is my first tip.
I got right. And I hired a administrative assistant who really could work on the transaction coordination, listing coordination, marketing, really jack of all trades, because when you're that small still, you don't have enough volume to really just be specialized, right? And just listing coordination, let's say, right?
But you're still the one handling the selling, the appointments, all of that kind of stuff, and they're like the back end person. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. And there's this great book, right? There's a lot of them, but there's a great book that I love. It's called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. Okay, and he talks about the franchise prototype, right? And so he uses McDonald's as an example, right? Because everyone knows that one, the Golden Arches, right? Not everyone knows the full story behind that, which we don't need to dive in right now. But the point is that what you want to do is in your real estate is your business, or with any business, franchise, hamburgers, whatever, you want to think with the end in mind. Okay, think with the end in mind. So what the exercise that he recommends you how to do, and I did this and I found it to be extremely useful, is you think with the end in mind. Think where you want to be now in 5 years. Now, maybe the end is not in 5 years, right? Maybe it's 10, maybe it's in 30. You don't know necessarily, but if you could dream big, wave that magic wand, where do you think the real estate business, your real estate business would be, when it's kind of or reached its peak of staffing, at least, right? The key staff positions, right? Operational positions, sales positions, marketing, et cetera, that you need to run a big real estate team. Well, if you don't know what that is, you can read books, right? There's one called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller, which is the Bible on real estate building for team building. There's obviously podcasts you can listen to, and there's masterminds you can attend, right? There's people they've done this and paved the path for you. But that first hire should be an operational type of staff member, employee, an administrative assistant who can do those things, who likes being in the back office, right? There are people who thoroughly enjoy that and have a great skill set that can do it far better than I could ever do it. My skill set lies on the front end, the sales, talking to people, networking. I enjoy it a lot. I'm a hard charger, right? And a lot of us who probably listen to this podcast probably are that way to some degree, right? But there are people who just love being in the back office and love seeing success through others, right? Supporting them to be on the front line. We talk about football a lot, Elizabeth, right?
Always football analogies.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this hopefully won't come off the wrong way, because it's not about size of people, right? In terms of physical size and how big, small, short, whatever, tall. No, but the analogy still applies, right? If you know about football, you have the quarterback who obviously runs the show on offense and distributes the football and scores touchdowns, throws whatever, right? He touches the ball the most. But you also have an offensive line. Okay. Now, I guarantee you, if I said, well, not anymore, but who is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time who played for the New England Patriots? Most people who have a clue would say, oh, Tom Brady, right? Now, obviously, we know he's been traded, but that's another story, right? But if I've also said, name one guy on his out of the five on his offensive line or across the decade or longer that he was there, that with all the Super Bowls they won, probably can't name them, right? But those guys love being on the Patriots. They love winning Super Bowls. They love making a ton of money. They love, having the success and seeing other guys succeed because they are offensive linemen. That's what they love to do, right? Because not everyone can
different
be
personality types. Yeah.
There you go. Not everyone can be Tom Brady. So find that person, hire that person. When do you know? You know, in my opinion, when you're doing somewhere between 40 and 60 transactions yourself a year. Okay. Now, if you're in that's a general statement. If you are in a luxury home market, right, where the price points are super sky high, maybe the Bay Area in California, New York City, whatever it may be, doing unit count sometimes a little more challenging. Yeah, but in exchange for that, you also typically have a client that's a little more higher maintenance, right? It's not a slam. It's just usually how it rolls, right? How it works. So it may not be 40 to 60 days. It could be on a volume count, right? You can do the math. If the average price point in America is around $285,000 or $280,000 right now, and that's 40 deals, do the math on that. That reaches a certain sales volume, and just back it down to your sales volume, because that might only be 11 deals or 8 deals in San Francisco. I don't know, right? Where the average price point's much, much higher. So that's when you know, okay? Because here's the deal. You are good at sales. You might be a good business leader. You may not. You might have to learn that skill set, okay? But you need someone to keep you organized and in line and do the back end stuff. Now, here's a pivotal question. When do you know it's time, or who do you hire for the second position that you hire?
Buyer's agent.
Exactly wrong.
Oh no.
Exactly wrong. But again, what you just said, Elizabeth, is what 95% approximately, right?
I think people they're wanting to get that buyer's agent. Like they don't want to show anymore.
There you go. There you go. That's right. Because let's be honest, if you've been in business at all, showing homes, listen, it can be taxing. And it's funny how many people we talk to, right, who get into real estate, who are like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. The favorite part I'm going to really enjoy the most is showing homes because I can see all these houses, right? Because they watch HGTV.
Yep, that'd be me. I go on Zillow. I just bought my house last year, and I'm on Zillow, like judging these, $1 million homes. But that'd be me. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So so the next hire that someone has to make, just to recap this, is that next operational person. Okay, because again, you are the best salesperson that you're going to have on your team, at least when you start out, right? The chances you find that second hire and it's a buyer's agent and they're better than you at selling and overall real estate knowledge and building nonverbal communication and rapport and all the stuff we talk about, probably not going to happen. If they're that good, they'd probably be figuring out how they can go sell more houses, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's just be honest. Right now, you might find a unicorn, but that's rare. So the next hire you need to be looking at is another operational hire, right? And technically, you want to have one, because you want to scale, right? You want to have one that is actually in charge, that report to you, of the other. That way, there's one report for you. So because why? Because you're busy out selling, right? You're going on like crazy, and they're doing all the back office for you, so you can just go out there and sell buyers and sellers and investors, right?
And then you're making more money so that you can make more hires.
There you go. There you go. I love Elizabeth. So that's how it should look. It should look literally like you. Then your main operational hire, so maybe your director of operations, you want to call him or her, and then you have the next person, and that next person under that director of operations should be early on should be someone who really helps on marketing side, a marketing coordinator to some degree, right? Now they can do or a lead coordinator, okay? So that's the main deal, because the director of operations is going to really work with your transactional count, your listings, your escrows, that kind of stuff, right? And that's how you kind of scale it. And then meanwhile, they're just handling all of that at a high level so that you can go out and sell. And then when you maximize your time, because you're doing no operational administrative work, then that's when and you're running like a madman well over 40 hours a week, then it's time to hire that first agent.
Buyer's agent, probably.
And we can talk about that on the next podcast with building out your sales side, because you have a sales side, operational side, and then you have, the way we do it is a growth or business development side.
Wonderful. I can't wait to get into that conversation, but you'll have to wait till next week. And we will see you back here. Again, we kind of scratched the surface overall on team building couple months back. So be sure to scroll through, listen to all previous podcasts if you haven't. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what else you'd like to hear, or even just share your stories of what you're doing that works. I mean, we'd love to hear about that too. So Kelly, if they have any questions about this, or if they want to join your team, get your expert advice, where can they reach you?
Would love nothing more than that, Elizabeth. But yeah, they can reach me at 480-227-2028, or my email, guys, at kelly@kellycookhomes.com.
Wonderful. And we will see you guys next time, and we'll continue this conversation on building your team.
Love it.
Bye, Kelly.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.